Welcome back to Real Talk. Remember, tonight we are getting real on separation and divorce. Now, if you want to join the conversation, please do it via the hashtag #RealTalkWithTemima on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. Because the reason why we are talking about this tonight is simply this. A lot of the times you get a lot of advice. What to look for before getting into a relationship, you know, how to keep a man, how to make sure you get married by a certain age, but nobody ever really talks about the separation bit, the divorce. So right now I want to introduce my guest, Lillian Amisi. So Lillian is actually 56 years old. And when she was younger, she was actually married to a man. And as a result of him cheating on her, she ended up getting divorced from this man. And it's actually been 30 years. And she has carried that scar to date. And I'm just going to let her share her story with us. Because Lillian, earlier on you were telling me that you're 56. First of all, you don't look it. Tuanze hapo. Si ni mrembo?
Not even 56. I'm 58
She's 58. Oh my God. Look at you.
My story, I will start when I was still young. I went to school very late. And when I reached class 7, I got pregnant. When the results were out, I had passed my exams. I joined Bunyore Girls. I went through, my education had problems because we were poor, my parents were poor. I was in class 1 week, 1 month, maybe 1 month in a term. But I thank God I made it to Form 4. After a few months, I got pregnant again. Umemaliza Form 4 immediately. Kapata mimba. Then I got a baby boy. When I was thinking that the father of the boy is coming to take me, I heard that he had wedded another lady. After winning my baby, I left my baby with my mother. I came to Nairobi to my brother's place. Katika hiyo hali ya kutafuta kazi, I bumped in somebody who told me that he loves me. He wants me to be his wife. I told him I have 2 kids, and this is the life I've been through, and here I'm looking for a job. Truly, we got married in December 1986. Then 1986, 87, I got a job with one of the government parastatals. Then we stayed to 1980 and 1990. He was working with one of the parastatals here in Nairobi. This is the transport, Kenya Railways. He was transferred to Kisumu. When he went to Kisumu, we were just in good relationship. Then when he went to Kisumu, it was like I didn't know he was feeling insecure of my baby boy. You know, lawyers with the children. He's expecting me to give the father of the child the child. So he felt insecure that I will start, the father of the baby will start dating me, which was not true. Then all of a sudden, I could go to Kisumu and find there's a lady in the house. Oh, she was there and she has left. The Majaranis will always tell you.
Well, now ukienda kumtembelea sasa.
Ukienda kumtembelea. Sometimes you go to Kisumu, you don't find him. Then when I went the second time, I found a lady there. And this lady I've come to stay. It was in the morning, we stayed. Me, I said I will not pick a quarrel with her. I don't know why she's here. So we stayed the whole day. Come evening when the man comes back, he picks a quarrel on me, not me picking a quarrel on him.
Because he's surprised to find in the house with this other woman.
Yes. So we started quarreling. And the quarrel ended with a very bad fight. The lady ran away. We remained in the house, 2 of us. He came with this kisui ya kukata sukuma. He wants kunidunga. And I caught hold of that kisu. Huku ambayo uko sharp. So nilikashika hiyo kisu hivi. knowing that this man can kill me. So kufika bedroom, kuanguka akaona damu imemwagika chini mingi. So he left the kisu and me I threw it under the bed. So majirani wakakuja, we tried to talk and I failed to know. Where it has reached, you have never slapped me, you are slapping me because of another woman, I better leave you with your woman. Then there was an old woman there who said that I will not leave you in this house. Let me go with you in my house, you sleep there. When I reached outside, I said, no, I'm not going with you. Na yeye akakimbia akafunga mlango. So I slept outside the house until morning.
Her house or your husband's house?
My husband's house. I went to my cousin's place, I told him. Then I boarded a bus, I came back to Nairobi. But before I left, I made it clear to him. I told him, I'm going back to Nairobi. I know that I'm called Lillian and Missy. And from today, mark in your calendar that the day you'll see me coming to look for you, people will cry for my mother.
Okay. And the interesting thing about Lillian, since then, have you been in a relationship? Have you moved on, gotten married again?
Okay, when we left each other like that, I was pregnant. Then I came because of that pressure. I had a miscarriage. Then I gave myself a break. And because of peer pressure of your friends, what and what, I tried to go out to do what I can do, to drink. I had never drank, but I started drinking, I started doing those things. But I reached a place, I said, now what is this? And you look at Mama and you say, hey, did I go to Bunyore Girls to be treated like this? Did I go to Bunyore Girls to be drinking with men in bars? Did I go to Bunyore Girls to be looked up, down by neighbors when you come, you are useless? I said, no, I'm going to take my dignity back. I'll live like Lillian. Then I lived. I've lived, I think that one was just the first 2 years. Then from there, up to now, I think it is around 28 years. I've never entered into any relationship. I got saved. I became a serious Christian from there. And reaching 2009, I enrolled myself in the Bible school, in the School of Ministry. After that, I enrolled myself in the theology college. I got diploma certificates in the School of Ministry, in the theology. Then from there, I was ordained as a pastor, and now I'm a pastoring. Mimi sikurudi kufuatana na baba ya hao watoto wote, sikufuatana nao. Nimesomesha watoto wangu. My last born, she's now almost 30, and she has done the course that you are doing, mass communication. She has a degree in mass communication.
Okay, so I want to throw in, let me just talk to Evelyn here. And I think probably hearing her talk, because she was married almost, you said, over 25 years ago?
Yes. And
since then, you have not been interested in coupling up?
No, not in any relationship. Sijaolewa tena, and I've never had even a man friend.
Clearly a demonstration that different people deal with separation differently. Because for her, it was easier to just cut out that part of her life. And which is okay, because also society puts pressure on women that at a certain age you must be married, you must have a man, and she's been able to tell us the kind of life she's lived. She's happy, her children are happy.
But let me say this. When you are having your children, you are happy. But when they are getting out, now I'm feeling lonely. That is the truth. Now I'm feeling lonely. If I can get somebody saying, Lillian, I want to marry you and we live like this, but not a poor man, I want somebody.
So I'm listening to Lillian talking, and she's saying now she's been alone for 25 years, lakini watoto wanaenda. So now she's looking for that guy.
Yes.
So do you think you'll ever change your mind?
She will reach there. She will come there.
So right now the heart is still too strong.
Strong because she's having the children with her. You know, when you have your children, in fact, when my son got married, is when I knew, ule mwanaume nimekuwa nikitegemea na amechukuliwa na bibi mwingine.
And how many sons do you have?
Watatu.
Watatu vijana. So unasikia venye anasema hapa mama, vijana wakikuondokea utaanza sasa kutafuta wapi.
You will feel lonely. I'm lonely. To say the truth.
And I like your honesty. I genuinely appreciate your honesty, Lillian, because really it's easy to say that I'm happy being me, myself, and I, but she's been very honest. It worked then, but now she's actually yearning for that companionship.
Well, I like her honesty, just to begin with. I'm sure it is sending so many messages to the young people right now. Well, like she's saying, in life, individuals are quite different. Moving on means you get another sex partner, or you get into another marriage, or you're, like they say, you are never complete unless your emotional needs are attended to. But when somebody wholly makes that decision, that person knows why. Because some people don't want maybe repeated. They see like maybe this situation is going to repeat itself. Mm-hmm. So you get most of them. Though the higher percentage of those ones who say, I don't need company, they actually do. You know, human beings sometimes, no human being wants, it's a social being.
Yeah. Man is not an island.
Yeah, it's not an island. And sometimes you feel like when you have not walked, like it's not over totally from your heart, so you feel like you don't want to move on. That does not stop you from your needs. When your man, even though it is not a wife, he has to have a clandestine or just a slave queen somewhere. Somebody has to be there to attend to his sexual needs. So as women, this has impacted us because women, we are forced to have a lot of stress, a lot of depression, because women, we don't know how not to be loved. This man moves on with his life. And we don't understand, it is very normal for you to love someone and that person not to love you back. But as we take it as, it kills us so much. And most of the time, like in my sessions, because you don't know maybe who I speak to, but I speak to so many women who are born again, who go to church, who say, no, for now, I don't need a man, I don't do what. And then what I always ask myself, and I wish they can answer that, do they really have an urge? You know, you are having sex with this man, you had kids. Are you willing to leave the sex part out of your life entirely because one man messed you up? So that is the big question that I always want us as women to be very truthful to our inner feelings. Like, what is it that I want? You don't have to tell somebody else, but you can tell yourself the truth. What is it that I want? Fine, you'll go to church, you'll pray tonight, you'll do the keshas, you'll do everything, but you like to feel petite in the night. You like somebody to hold you. You like to also feel complete as a person.
Maybe let me ask Emma a question. So Emma, having had Anne and Lillian being very candid, actually Anne is still in denial. For you, would you say that there's a part of you that is yearning for that companionship?
Oh yes, absolutely. Why not? It is there. And that is why in picking up myself, you see, any girl who has been through a wedding and you go through a traumatic situation in the love, you wouldn't like to see a bride near you. There is a time I would look at a vehicle carrying a bride and I would click. And that is why because when they say the vows, I will be faithful to you, body, I would feel they are lying. But there's a time now when God healed me, I started desiring. That is why I started going to weddings. to MC weddings and dance myself out. And
From
I'm dancing
picking at brides, now you're emceeing at weddings.
Yes. And I would dance myself out and even go with my children just to show them that marriage is beautiful. It's not a time for me to be toxic on them. My case is an isolated case. There are marriages that work. I cannot teach my daughter that men are dogs. They are not. Mine was just an isolated case. And for that reason, so for that reason, I started yearning to be loved again, and I'm willing to be loved, and I dress myself like I must be loved.
Okay. So I'm going to take some questions from the audience here in studio.
Thank you, Tamima. My name is Masiruto, and my question goes to the lawyer. I want to ask her, how much is the cost of a divorce, and how long does it take for you to complete the process of divorce? Thank you.
Thank you, Mercy, for the question. Well, in any legal matter, there are usually the fixed costs and there are the variable costs, because your fixed costs are like the filing fees. The filing fees for a divorce is very little. It's about 2,000 shillings. But the other costs will vary, like whether it's contested or not. Is the other party going to file other proceedings in that divorce? What other issues are you dealing with? Are there children's issues, custody issues to be taken into account? So basically, I would say 2,000 for the filing fees and other costs, but the variables would also depend on your legal costs. What is the matrimonial property you're talking about? So those are variable, and they can range from depending on what property you're talking about. But the legal, the filing fees and the other costs are quite minimal. First of all, you start with filing a petition. So it depends on whether or not also it's contested, and are there any other applications in between. So I wouldn't give a specific time. I would just say it depends on the complexity.
So, Paulette, what is the reality in Kenya of men being made by law to actually own up and live up to their responsibilities to pay child support?
The beauty of Kenyan law is that a child is a child, whether it was born in a null marriage, whether you're in a marriage and you're disputing, whether you're separated, the law considers that each child is entitled to basics, shelter, clothing, food, and both parents are responsible for that.
So there is obligated to, but what is the reality of enforcement of that obligation?
You can enforce it. Normally we say we start with mediation. So we ask you to come to the table, discuss, because it doesn't always have to end up in court. You can sit down and agree. And whatever you agree in a mediation, then you can table it in court as a parental responsibility agreement.
What about, let me use an example. In the instance, maybe the woman has tried talking to the man is unagreeable to everything, and maybe he's employed. Can the court then intervene, reach out to his employer so that the money is now deducted from his paycheck and goes directly to the woman?
Yes, you can apply to Children's Court for maintenance, and that's usually what they require. They require pay slips, they require some evidence of means, and you can actually even have someone put in court for failing to take care of the obligations. So the Children's Court actually deals a lot with the maintenance, and I think they're doing a good job. And in Kenya, we can say our children are well protected. It's just the parents, the women, to take that step. And I think what Emma was saying, that we try to cover up, so a lot of people think it has to go the legal way. No, you can start by mediating.
And maybe finally, Paulette, in case somebody cannot afford to go hire a lawyer, are there places where they can actually go get these services?
I'm actually a pro bono lawyer for some institutions. You can go to Kituo cha Sheria, you can go to FIDA. They train you even to represent yourself in court. I'm also a FIDA member. So there are several organizations that are willing to support you in trying to get maintenance for children, trying to do your own divorces, going for mediation. There are several organizations that actually can hold your hand if you don't have the means.
Well, on that note, we have to wind up tonight's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, you can always get at us via the hashtag #RealTalkWithTemima. Let me know what your views, comments, and feedback on tonight's show are. And we really hope that we touch somebody's life out there. As you've heard, there are a lot of opportunities, there are a lot of avenues that you can get help. She's mentioned FIDA, she's mentioned several other organizations. You can check out our Switch TV pages for some of these details. Well, right now, that's it from me, Tamima, and the entire crew. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next week, good night.
Hello everyone, welcome to the talk show. This is Doris Wanyagia. This is the show where we get to discuss issues affecting the youth.
Hello everyone, this is the Real Talk Show with Tom Bayer. This is the show where we get to discuss issues affecting the youth. And today we are
Hello, I am Tamima, the host of Real Talk with Tamima, and I would like to invite you to be part of my audience or a guest on the show. All you have to do, if you have a story that is very personal, very powerful, and you want to inspire other people, please reach out to the show via the email address on your screen or the number as well.